Welcome, everyone, to another round of Superlights. We are at Suzuka in wonderful Japan, where the cherry blossoms bloom and the car liveries have slightly been tweaked here and there to be a little more Japanese sometimes. I am joined by Alex Foulkes once again. We are the famous duo. We are now doing Superlights, and it's nice, isn't it, Alex, to do a proper championship.
What's wrong with FS2, Toby? I don't... there was no problems whatsoever with that championship at all, ever.
No, then.
It was perfect racing, clean.
Action aplenty. That's what we'll describe it as.
I think that was the only thing that wasn't a lie in that.
I mean, it was a nice time that we had, but we are doing Superlights, and it's nice to be in Japan, and it's not looking that far away from being wet. It's like very heavy clouds going on. There is potential for some weather tonight and over the next couple of days for Super League as well. Let's keep an eye on it as we go along tonight. It is currently dry, and round one winner, Aaron Vasquez, pre-season, I think pretty much everyone's favourite for the championship, at least for the round one victory. He's once again setting the pace in practice. We're going to go to qualifying in just a minute or so, but he's looking very strong so far, isn't he?
Yeah, starting with a race win from, was it second or third on the grid? I think it was third. Oliver Taras was second, with Matusz Majka taking pole. I don't see Matusz Majka. Oh, he is here. 9th position, or 8th position on that time screen, 9th on race view. So maybe he's holding back his pace in practice, or maybe he's not as good at Suzuka. But Sandeep Singh, who we spoke to last time out, second in practice at the minute, he was saying that Suzuka is one of his stronger circuits. Do you think that Singh's challenging for a win here? Of course, you can't say anything before qualifying, but what's your thought?
We can say things before qualifying. Just can't is
we're just completely guessing. We might as well.
Yeah. Sandeep is very famously a fan of Suzuka. Let's see what he can do in that Netrex car. Of course, Netrex, the reigning champions in Superlights, chose not to move up to Super League. So Sandeep, coming from Formula Sprint 2 last season as champion, is here to compete. And teammate Harry Smith doing okay in P6 in practice as well. But let's see what happens as we move into the qualifying session. The checker flag being thrown for practice. And I think pretty much, anyone's guess as to who will actually take pole today. Although overwhelmingly the favourite is Aaron Vasquez, who has done that 30.7 in practice.
But the 15 minutes of qualifying might tell us something very, very different. After all, practice means nothing, as we saw last time out. Well, it did actually mean something last time out, because Majka was fastest in practice and then fastest in qualifying. So it could be that Vasquez will take pole, but the next 15 minutes of qualifying ahead of us will tell us, well, the truth.
Yeah, absolutely the case. Do get in touch on the YouTube chat as we go through tonight's broadcast. We will, of course, endeavour to engage and discuss things with you in the YouTube chat. Do also follow us and like the video. Please do subscribe to the channel. You can also get on our Instagram. Just search for GPVWC. Of course, we have our main community hub is our Discord, as well as our website. So if you are new to GPVWC, please do interact with us, get on board. You never know, you might like to join the series. You can start in Academy, try and get a seat in Formula Sprint 2, move your way through the ladder. If you think you're good or better than that, then you can try higher up the ladder. Although at this stage of the season, I think most teams have filled their driver lineup. for the time being. There is usually some movers and shakers in Formula Sprint 2, but for now, the teams are all set. And in terms of tonight, I think we've pretty much got a normal grid. Scott Mitchell-Marm is currently on the plane on his way to Japan for the Formula 1 race. So he is not racing tonight. Chris Butcher is taking his place. And Chris Butcher was very competitive in 2022 in Superlights, driving for THR. He hasn't had much time to prepare. But one to keep an eye out, see whether he can progress through the pack tonight, Alex.
Yeah, and there's quite a few big names down the field, like, of course, Luke Mitchell, Scott Mitchell-Marm's brother, in the other Kings racing car. He had a decent performance last time out, starting from the back of the grid, where back of the grid penalty managed to recover to a couple of points with a fairly strong strategy. I, of course, haven't been researching the strategy. What's the strategy looking like here, Toby? Is it another two-stopper? Is it another...
There's options.
What is it? Is there options?
Yeah, options. So, as we know, top 15 have to use the tyre they qualified on, which is a change from last year's regulation. It's no longer required that you start on that tyre, which has opened up the strategy options somewhat. So you will find that some people will potentially start on the soft. And from there, it's where you go next. There's an option for a quite a slow one-stop on softs to hards. Probably the faster strategy on paper is to do a two-stop. And it's all about whether that two-stop is fast enough to get through the traffic. And to be honest with you, it will entirely depend on traffic today as to which strategy comes out on top. Those are the two options. There's an option to go soft medium or medium soft as well, which is a huge stretch. So I suspect one stoppers you'll see on hards at some point. Two stoppers will do something like a medium soft or a soft medium soft or something like that. So plenty of options, but we'll be able to tell who is on a one stop based on if they start on hards pretty much straight away. Right, Sandeep Singh coming through the final corner then, Alex, and the first couple of corners are quite tricky, aren't they, here?
Well, we've seen many people get this wrong just through the end of the DRS zone. Sandeep Singh not going all the way out on the entry into turn 2, but it's a difficult braking zone, curved all the way through the famous Suzuka S's. Not much braking, plenty of downshifting and upshifting though, to try and get rotation through these corners up to 6th, flat out towards the two Degnas here. Degna 1 into Degna 2. Degna 1 I thought was flat there for Sandeep Singh. He has gone purple. Of course, that lower third does lie to us. Purple in the first sector, but through the famous hairpin towards the good old spoon curve goes Sandeep Singh up to 7th, into 8th. No, keeping it in 7th. Braking at the 50 marker. Nice out and wide. And there's a lot of these sweeping corners and these curved braking zones. Suzuka really is quite a difficult track, but towards the sector 2 line, what's it saying for Sandeep Singh? It is not the fastest in sector 2, but it's not far off Aaron Vasquez's 40.7. And through the final couple of corners past 130R, Vasquez provisionally pole with 30.8. Here comes Sandeep Singh then to the line. Taras, a tenth and a half behind. Sandeep Singh unable to match, almost 3 tenths behind Vasquez. So Vasquez coming out provisionally on pole. Mitchell, who I was talking about at the start of the session, managed to get it into 7th. Here's Giuseppe Saracino, a couple of seconds behind in that first sector in the Team Shiba car. But, you know, it's sort of what we were expecting at the front. Taras, again, with a strong qualifying performance. Let's see if he can translate that into the race.
What's interesting to me is that Taras, Singh, Luis Mesa as well, they're all slower in a straight line than Aaron Vasquez, who clearly has gone for a slightly lower downforce setup, and that was borne out in his sector 1 time, actually. It was a 0.7 in his first sector versus a 0.5 for Oliver Taras. So Taras clearly going for a higher downforce setup, which you can do here. You get pros and cons, a bit like Spa. So if you go for a high downforce setup. It helps you in that first sector, but then the back end of the lap, especially the final sector, is all about straight line speed. There is really only sort of one overtaking opportunity through DRS, which is down into turn 1. There's only one DRS zone. There's a second opportunity into the Casio Triangle, which is just after 130R. We're going to watch Federico Russo go through the spoon curve here, which leads onto that back straight. But the problem with that overtaking zone, if you like, is you have to get a good exit out of this corner, and if you're too close to the car in front, you will pick up dirty air, get wide on that curb, which can harm your straight line speed all the way down. But 130R, easy flat these days. It's been reprofiled for many years now, but easy flat. And then this is the Casio Triangle again. Probably the other opportunity for overtaking, realistic one anyway, on the track. But here comes Russo then to start a lap. And as I said, this is the only DRS zone on the track, down into turn 1. Then you have to close the DRS before you get anywhere near to that braking zone, or you will lose the rear end. Yeah, for now, Vasquez topping the timesheets as we watch Russo in that Santin Motorsports car go through the first sector. And Vasquez is the man to beat, but he hasn't matched his practice time, so we know there's a bit more in it.
And of course, as the track gets better, as Russo finds the gravel and that curb, which actually a few years ago now in 2023 took me out of the lead in Race 2 and Formula Sprint 2. I can imagine that curb is still quite difficult. Here's István Shingle, though. 2 temps down in the first sector, and this is, of course, his first lap. And 2 temps down really isn't that bad, especially considering with how close the grid is currently. That can put him up in quite a good position as long as he keeps similar pace through the second sector. And it didn't look like he was pushing to the limit, but that's what you expect from a banker lap for a lot of these drivers. And yeah, he's 4 temps behind the best time at the minute, but provisionally he's looking middle of the pack, top end of the points through the Casio Triangle. I think we're going to see a very similar situation as we did last 2 weeks ago, I should say. Yeah, there's Shingle moving himself up to 15th. We're going to see a similar situation where a majority of the field was separated by, in some cases, less than a second. And, you know, that makes for an exciting qualifying, but also an exciting race. Is Falkenhayn then leaving the pits, who didn't have a very long race 2 weeks ago, suffering from sort of an unkept setup for cooling. But Aaron Vasquez then sets not even the fastest Sector 1. He's currently beaten out by Luis Mesa by over 2 tenths of a second. But, like you said, Vasquez running the slightly lower downforce setup. Most of his advantage will be here in Sector 2, where it's a high-speed corner here, but for the most part, it's flat out, and it's one of the flattest parts of the track, of course, ignoring the final sector, which is 3 corners. Let's see then, along this straight, how much of an advantage does Vasquez really have in a straight line? It's a 40.7, a tenth down on his best time through the final chicane then. And I think for Vasquez, it might not be an improvement. And no. Yeah, he does pull into the pit lane. But Luis Mesa then, purple in Sector 1, nullified by Sector 2, across the line. What can he do? He does improve, but not enough to move up in position.
That shows you the differing levels of downforce as well. That Brame car then clearly very, very fast in that first sector with high downforce as Taras brakes a little bit too late through the Casio Triangle and throws away a decent lap. So easily done there, unfortunately. Vasquez as well threw his lap away by launching himself over the curbs far too aggressively, so had to back out of that one as well, as Latinen also dips out of that lap. And you have to complete your lap, or if you don't complete your lap, you have to box and go past the speed line, which is why you see cars on in and out laps here in GPVWC, just make it a little bit more interesting and realistic as Pascal Palence goes through turn 1, and the former Super League driver yet to set a lap time so far in this session, driving that KB86.
Yep, they've had some livery changes this time around, boasting a new sponsor on that side pod. But Pascal Plens, like you said, not set a time so far. Let's see what he does in Sector 1. 2.5 temps down. And realistically, that's where you're gaining most of the time in this lap. It's the most technical section of the circuit, and it's the hardest to deal with, that's for sure. But through the hairpin, and it looks relatively tidy, and this sort of has to be a banker lap because he's only getting one more chance after this. And if he doesn't set a decent lap time, this is where he's going to be starting at the back of the grid. So, you know, at this point in the session, the pressure's on for the final couple of drivers on the grid to set a reasonable time to get them at least somewhere on the grid instead of right at the back. Of course, it is possible to do something from the back, but it is difficult as he is 2.5 temps, 5 temps in total down on the best time. Through the final chicane comes Pascal Plens, looking currently middle of the pack across the line, and he does get it up to 19th. That just shows how close the margins are here, and how close the entire grid is for, you know, 1.6 seconds down is 26th. And it truly is competitive at this point in the season where there is nothing really in terms of upgrades going on. Vasquez showing a purple Sector 1, and he's not done too bad compared to Lewis Mesa's best time, Toby.
Yeah, he's improving again, isn't he? And clearly we saw him do a 0.7 in practice. The track should be a bit more rubbered in. I think he can get down to a 0.6 or even a 0.5 potentially. So let's see what Aaron can do. Looked pretty tidy from what we saw there through the spoon curve. He comes flying down the back straight and into 130R. We can see his second sector split takes him best part of a 10th up. So this would be an improvement. In fact, it's an overall purple middle sector for Vasquez as he flies through the final chicane. Took a lot of curb once again. He's going around the final corner now. Is going to complete the lap. So this is going to be an improvement. What is it? It's 0.750. He didn't absolutely nail the chicane then. As Sandeep Singh comes through now, and yes, he's missed the braking zone. So he'll take that to the pit lane and go again. Very upset clearly with his lap. Mike, I was just going to say Micah is struggling, but has just moved himself up to P5 as Taras has done a purple first sector, but 4 tenths down in the middle sector for Oliver, and he will inevitably back out of this one as well. It looks like Vasquez is going to be very hard to beat in this session.
Yeah, and the interesting thing is, we cut to Larson at the exact same time as Taras, who does move up to second, almost out of nowhere there, and like you said, difficult to challenge Vasquez at the top there. The closest competitor being 1800ths of a second behind. That's quite the margin compared to the rest of the positions. But here's Jan Dragoon improving in the first sector. Moved a position down by Fabricio Gobbi, and over those curbs, squirming over them, struggling for traction towards the Sector 2 split. Let's see just how much that cost him. Not a lot, in fact. 2.5 temps down currently on the best time through the final sector, jumping over those curbs like we saw Vasquez doing, and into the final section across the line from 12th. Does he move up? No, he doesn't.
Tell you what's interesting is the timing of these laps. I don't think that Lahtinen is going to get another lap in. He crossed the line with about 3 minutes left, and you need 1 minute 30 to get back to the pits and 1 minute 30 for your out lap to get back to the zero. If that makes sense, because you can complete a lap as long as you've started it before the session ticks over to zero. Harry Smith on a lap right now. This will be his final run. Let's see if Lahtinen does manage to get back out just in time. I don't know if he's going to be able to. It's going to be really, really tight for the Finnish driver. This is a good lap from Harry Smith, though. He's only 2 tenths down on Vasquez, and that could put him easily inside the top 5, possibly even inside the top 3. So let's see if he's a little bit squirmy out of the final corner. Is it good enough to move him up? Yeah, he lost 2 tenths in that final sector. So Harry Smith only good enough for P8. It was an improvement as Gobbi comes up, and that's the end of Gobbi's session then. He's not going to get another lap in. Here's Pavel Andrzejewski. I will get there. Andrzejewski crosses the line 31-1, P10 for Pavel Andrzejewski. And Jorge Martinez then in P11 on a lap as well. He's coming through the middle sector, which basically is the hairpin and spoon. So what can the Brame GP driver do?
Well, through the spoon section, I can imagine that quite tidy there. Not pushing all the way over those ribbed curbs, just keeping it to the red and white ones. Towards the Sector 2 split for Jorge Martinez, almost a second. In fact, more than a second down in the second sector. So that will be the end to this Brame GP driver's qualifying session, as he will presumably pull into the pit lane, or he'll go across.
Oh, he's trying to start another lap. Has he got it? I think he's just about been able to start it. Yeah, he just crossed the line in time, so maybe he's got enough fuel to go again. Sandeep Singh, a green personal best first sector for him. And, it's only a 10.5 down, but we do know he's running a little bit more downforce than Aaron Vasquez is. Can he improve in this final sector? It looked a little bit untidy over the curb. Can he move himself up from P5? It'll have to be a good run to the line. He does, just to P4. So Singh taking that fourth place away from Lewis Mesa, the Brame GP driver. Harry Smith, we know, has completed that lap, and I think that's it, isn't it? Because I don't think Taras is going to complete a lap. Well, Taras does apparently.
Is improving as well.
Martinez is improving, yes, because we saw him just get to the line, didn't we? So what can Martinez do? Has he got enough tyre life left? That's the key question.
Well, I think after that second sector, he realised that it wasn't in it for him and saved a little bit, but struggling with the rear traction out of the spoon, and he is 4 tenths down in that second sector. But of course, he did improve in Sector 1, using a little bit of the deployment there out of 130R to get that bit of extra speed, and then to the line comes Martinez. Can he improve on the 11th position? I'll take that as a no. He cannot improve on that 11th position. He doesn't seem particularly pleased with himself there.
It's a grumpy Spaniard, isn't it?
Definitely, by the looks of
I'm very much not a fan of doing that, by the way. When you are completing your final lap in quali, just drive normally, please. Thank you very much, everyone. But yeah, that is session done, isn't it? And Mateusz Majka, pole sitter last week, or 2 weeks ago, only good enough for P7 today. And teammate Andrzejewski in P10. But Vasquez taking taking his first pole of the season, actually, from the apex duo of Yasser Latin and Oliver Taras. Sandeep Singh taking that 4th place. We saw him nick it off Lewis Mesa in the end. Giuseppe Saracino, P6 with Mateusz Majka, as we alluded to, P7. Harry Smith, Sandeep Singh's teammate, in P8. Patrick Hango for Green Stripes taking 9th. We didn't mention him, but good luck for him. And Andrzejewski in 10th place. Jorge Martinez then in the end P11 with Fabrizio Gobbi for Stacks in P12. Jan Dragoon, teammate to Vasquez, only P13 for him. Probably didn't quite get a lap time in. Pascal Polens, 14th place with Luke Mitchell for Kings in 15th. Mirko Lucchini, 16th place, the first runner who can have open tyre choice. Alongside him will be Federico Russo, Machka Magnussen, Istvan Chingle, and Mikhail Falkenhayn rounding up the top 20. 21st goes to Petter Knap, with Zsolt Schuks in 22nd, Pablo Serrano 23rd, Lorenzo De Chutis in 24th place, Robin Merling 25th place, Chris Butcher, who is in place of Scott Mitchell-Marm in 26th, with Daniel Scott 27th place, Victor Beer in 28th, I'm reading it, I know what 28 looks like, why did I say 18th? 29th, Juho Sopanen, and Maxime Beaulieu rounds out the field.
Aaron Vasquez takes another pole. The dominance.
I know. I don't. I'm not. I will caveat this with I am not 100% today. Tash and I have had quite a bad cold over the weekend, so just about recovered enough to talk to you for a couple of hours.
That sounds like excuses to me.
It is.
Frankly.
I've been at work today as well, and so yeah, I do apologise if I make the odd procedural. Is that the right word? Error? I think probably.
Probably not. You know, just thought I'd throw that out there.
Well, yes. The wrong when the wrong thing is said, and I am the one saying it. Sorry. How's that?
Yeah, good enough.
Hashtag good enough.
That's all that
Right
you
then,
need,
guys.
really.
In the YouTube chat, please let us know what you want us to talk about today. It's open for discussion. I will say one thing: we are making some progress again on the website and updating some things behind the scenes. We're hoping to have all the systems and everything in place very, very soon, including the history, the results files, competitors' pages and stuff like that. But for now, if you are able to, there is a spotter's guide in the YouTube description, so if you're able to click on that, you can have a little look at all the drivers and their liveries for today. It's actually quite useful to spot if there's been any changes from the last round, so that's there for you to click on. And there's a bunch of stuff you can do on the Discord as well. We've got quite a thriving community in all aspects of sim racing, and whenever there's an F1 race on, the sort of general chat blows up as well. We're all sort of motorsport fans as well, aren't we, Alex?
That's it. I don't know, actually. I don't normally pay attention to the Discord or the website as much as I probably should. But yeah, it can get busy. And that's well, all of the links to these things that we're talking about are in the description of this here broadcast as well.
Yeah, just get involved. Get watching. Get
Apparently we have
involved.
a Facebook and a Twitter page. I don't think we've ever.
Yeah, we do. They're not very updated.
Yeah, I can imagine. What was the last post on the Facebook page?
2024.
2024. Okay.
Yeah, it's for unks. But our Instagram's the one. That's where we mostly keep up to date. In fact, it's a reminder for me to potentially take those links down. We're on there, but we're not on there, if that makes sense. It's for unks, right?
Aren't you like 35?
Not yet. This year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I keep up with the lingo, mate. I'm hip and cool. Down with the kids and that.
I believe they would be calling you an unk. You know? That's sort of about the age.
Well, what can you do, really? Can you do anything?
Get older. Yeah.
Exactly. Big shout out to Alex Maggio, who's put the mods together for the track. Pretty much on his own. He's done all of the updates to it. It's a laser scan version. They've got all of the lovely scenery. He's changed some of the trees to those pink cherry blossoms, which is very pretty. So yeah, it looks very nice.
Where are they? Oh,
They're
okay,
pink.
I see them.
Yeah. I think he said there's something like 18 distinct types of tree, and he changed one of them to the cherry blossoms, and now they're everywhere. But
I see a couple.
Yeah.
Do they have cherry blossoms in the region of Suzuka? I don't actually know.
It's humour him. Also, Fabian, who is on he's the broadcast director, actually. He's on cameras today. He's on
commentary with us.
He's on commentary. There is a rogue Jarl Tyne cardboard cutout around the track, and you have to spot him. He is there. See if you can spot him, but he's around, hiding in the old in amongst all the other sort of crowd.
Well, if it's in the crowd, we have no hope.
Yeah, well, I'll give you a clue. It's an area of the track that Jarl is familiar with from last season.
I didn't know we were including inside jokes on
It's not an inside joke. He's literally in the track files.
Yeah, that's an inside joke.
Yarl.png. Oscar Soltero wants us to talk about the Roman Empire. In fairness, not really. Obviously, I know they conquered a lot of stuff. And in fact, I used to live in Caerleon, which is just north of Newport in South Wales. And there's it used to be a sort of Roman barracks fort, I guess. There's a bunch of ruins there. There's like a mini amphitheatre that's really, really cool. There's also a like a bunch of barracks there. You can see the like foundations of. So that's kind of all I know about the Roman Empire. What about you?
Well, I lived next to Chester. And that was a very big Roman town. That's about all I know about it, really.
I know, yeah.
There's an amphitheatre in Chester. That's quite interesting.
Is there?
Quite
They
big.
loved it.
Yeah.
They loved it, didn't they? Absolutely loved a bit of like violence and stuff on a weekday.
Did you know that the Spartans, the reason that we have nettles in the UK is that they would plant fields of nettles and the Spartans would walk through them to warm up in the morning.
No way.
That's why we have nettles in the UK.
Genuine?
They were important.
Where are they from originally?
I assume Italy. I assume, or somewhere that the Romans were, but they imported nettles to the UK. Nettles aren't native to the UK.
That is, mate, you've blown my mind. Honestly, that's a wicked fact. I love that.
I don't know how much they walked through it to warm them up in the morning bit is, but I know that they imported nettles.
I fell into a bunch of singing nettles as a kid. I fell off my bike and literally was covered head to toe in nettle stings. So I sort of have like I don't really get stung by them anymore. I mean, I get stung, but they don't really I don't get blotchy patches on me anymore. Do you know what I mean? So
I feel like you just become immune, more immune to nettles as you,
the more you get stung, it is. I
can't remember the last time I was stung by nettles, frankly.
I think you have to be under the age of 10, don't you, to be playing in stinging nettles?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like it's not something I actively go out of my way to do anymore. But there we go. I don't have footage of me falling off my bike into stinging nettles, but you don't want to see.
Can we recreate it?
I could do. You'll only ever hear my voice these days, and it's not just me and Alex who are on commentary. There's plenty of us out there, and if you want to watch, there's multiple series that you can catch up on in 2026 in GPVWC.
5 of them, to be exact.
Exactly. And if Fabian was listening, he'd play the video.
Inside a place of... On the next pretzels. Kelty seat, the coffee beanery, Tyrek.
Flat out. Oh no! Oh no! Who's round? It's Magnussen.
Oh, it's going to touch moment. It's in the barrier. Oh, they spun. Oh, this was a carnage.
And Menokov's gonna win.
It's a double pass. Could they take each other off? They don't. And Flack slide. It's a victory for the Tuties.
They touch. They're now... Oh no!
Soriano's gone around and met the wall. Mitchell will go through.
As they go uphill into turn 4. Oh, and round the outside. What a fabulous move.
Frelick will use all of his as well. Here he comes. He makes a move. They touch. They run wide. And Munio's going to get it.
We're going
3-1. Look at
Sing.
contact. Oh, my goodness. Tyne has lost a wheel.
Time's out.
The dramatic race that we were teeing up the entire time has come to an end.
So that's how to watch us in 2026. There's multiple series, lots of drama happening all of the time. We have 16 distinct rounds FS1 and FS2 have 2 races per round, so they've got 64 races by themselves on top of 32 races in the top 2 tiers, taking you to a total of 96 total races plus Academy, which is a variable amount. So best part of 120 races you can watch in 2026. So honestly, I don't expect you to watch every single one of them, but there's always something going on in GPVWC. And please do stay in touch on the YouTube chat. It's nice for you guys to give us some feedback and discuss stuff as the race goes on. Sergio Fletcher said, "As a bike, I fell off my kid," which I think is a an interesting statement. Anyway, warm-up's nearly out, Alex.
Thank goodness for that, eh?
What do you even mean?
It means that, you know, you start to focus on things instead of just yapping and yapping and yapping. That's exactly what you're doing right now.
Can I just say, Jan Dragoon's got good pace, hasn't he, in the race, by the looks of things? Magnussen as well. I know warm-up is a little bit of a tricky one to see, but you do get a rough idea as to what people will do at the start of the race. And there will be...
like 4 seconds slower.
Yeah, of course, they're on race fuel, aren't they? Race fuel for the start of the race. So, but versus qualifying.
Like
so it's a reasonable indication as to what the opening laps might be. Low 34s, mid 34s, something like that. But yeah, let's have a little look, see what happens in the first few laps. We're just going to wait for the session to tick over as soon as we go into race. I'm very excited to watch this one unfold. I'm just going to do a quick weather check. It does look like it's going to stay dry for now, but you never really know. It comes out of nowhere, doesn't it, in Japan?
Well, it comes out of nowhere in the UK as well, so if anyone's to talk about it as an authority, it's definitely us as two people from the wretched British Isles.
Oh, it doth raineth. It really does.
Today, yes.
Yes, it's been raining quite heavily today as it goes. But
nice weather all week, and then
yeah. We'll keep an eye, see whether it changes. But yes, now the grid starts filling up. I'm looking forward to this one, and its next will be Superlights. Well, still waiting for the grid to fill up. People leaving it to the last possible minute to join the grid. And the purpose of my mini video is to try to hide the cars just popping in, but there we are. Everyone's doing it at the last possible second, trying not to give away their tyre strategies. A reminder that if you qualified in the top 15, you have to use the tyre that you qualified on during the race at some point. If you're 16th and beyond, you have free tyre choice. You can do whatever you like. But Aaron Vasquez then leads the pack away for the formation lap. His time in qualifying was good enough to set pole position for the optimal driver. And he will be looking to secure another victory today. He's joined alongside him on the front row by Jesse Lahtinen for Apex with Oliver Taras and Sandeep Singh P3 and P4. P5 goes to Luis Mesa with Giuseppe Saracino in P6. Mathieu Schmeicher and Harry Smith, 7th and 8th. 9th place goes to Patrick Hanko for Green Stripes with Paweł Andrzejewski in 10th place, Jorge Martinez and Fabrizio Gobbi behind them in 11th and 12th place. Jan Dragoon and Pascal Polens take the next 2 positions in 13th and 14th, with Luke Mitchell for Kings and Mirko Lucchini for Santon, 15th and 16th. Teammate Federico Russo takes 17th place ahead of Patrick Magnussen, Istvan Shingle and Mikhail Falkenhayn 19th and 20th. Petter Knap for Stax takes 21st place with Jolt Schux in 22nd. Pablo Serrano and Lorenzo de Chutis behind them. Robin Merling and Chris Butcher 25th and 26th. Daniel Scott and Victor Beer in 27th and 28th. and Juho Soppanen, and Maxime Beaulieu, the French-Canadian, and both Fusion drivers rounding out the field. Just realised I did the qualifying results. Probably should have been you doing the grid. Apologies, Alex.
But it was my turn, you know. I was really looking forward to doing the grid.
I don't think that's true.
Why not?
I think you prefer doing the race results.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. It's all the same, reading a long list of names and...
It is. Here's the French-Canadian. Beaulieu coming around the final couple of corners. There's a distinction you have to make in Canada. You can't just go, there's the Canadian.
Why is the flag of Quebec this weird, like, you know, bluey stuff and the crosses? Why is it not just the Canadian flag with a blue stripe?
Do you know what, Alex? I don't know.
That'd be a
But I will find out. I will find out for next time. For surezies. Right, let's see what happens then at the start of the race. We've got Aaron Vasquez for Optiminal on the right. We've got Jesse Lahtinen for Apex on the left. We've got a nice zoomed out camera for the run down to turn 1. It will be very minimal braking. So let's see who gets on top. It's Aaron Vasquez on the right. It's 5 lights up above them. And now they are gone. And Vasquez does get a good start. Chops off the Apex GP driver very aggressively. Prevents him from getting any moves done whatsoever. And Lahtinen slots in behind in P2. A good start at the front of the field. No particular drama that I can see. Although there is a yellow flag out. I can't see. Oh, there's a couple of cars in the barrier in the background. One Soppanen, and there's a wheel missing from Victor Beer. They must have come together, and they were right at the back of the field, Alex, and that looks like it's game over for the pair.
Yeah, it's not the way you want to start a race. And speaking of someone that's had a difficult start as well, it's Pascal Polens, who's fallen down a number of positions off the start. Started 14th, down to 19th for the minute, but was 21st in the first corner. Rousseau just got past Luke Mitchell there for 15th. And there's been a good number of moves as we head into the hairpin. Magnussen getting temporarily past Fabricio Gobbi as we head towards the spoon curve. Both KV86s here actually in a bit of a sandwich, but there's Magnussen then down the inside of Gobbi into the spoon curve. Breaks a little earlier, but Gobbi's got it all wrong, outbroke himself, and Magnussen moves himself up tidily into 13th. At the front, though, Vasquez has developed a rather large gap to Lahtinen. 7 tenths in just a third, 2/3 of the lap. And that's quite a good gap then for Vasquez, and it's quite a good start to this race. And I think Lahtinen's going to have to start pushing quite early on if he wants any chance of catching up. But here comes then Dragoon on Andrzejewski through the first corner. They almost look like they're going 3 wide, but there goes Dragoon down the inside. Ooh, it looked like there was going to be contact there, but they've managed to keep their nose clean somehow. Millimeters between them, Toby.
Absolutely. Brilliant driving from the pair, not to both take each other out and skid off into the gravel there. To be honest, I was expecting contact, but both of them driving very, very fine margins and getting it right. 7 tenths this year is the gap for DRS. We do have DRS still. We're not simulating exactly the F1 regulations, a reminder of that. But we have reduced the DRS gap down 7 tenths. So Vasquez has managed to get outside of that 7/10 window on that first lap. So Lahtinen is going to be a little bit of a sitting duck, but these two pushing on very hard. And it's important to mention at this stage the tyres that everyone's chosen, so that we can point out to you the hard runners will be one stopping. There's a few that have gone soft early and a few that have gone medium early as well, but the vast majority of people choosing that hard to soft strategy.
Yeah, but the interesting thing is our top 5 and then Micah all on the hard compound to start with, and then Saracino behind is the only one on mediums really until you get a couple of positions as Micah under pressure from Harry Smith. Vasquez sets the fastest lap of the race, and as we head onto the straight, Smith does get past Micah. Micah looks to the inside into turn 1, but he also loses out to Patrick Hanko there. So Michael losing a couple of positions along the straight, not ideal.
Not ideal at all. And yeah, he's dropped back from what was a reasonable starting position. Now he's in P9, and there's a couple of cars in front of him. Obviously, Harry Smith choosing those softer compound tyres would expect to make a little bit of progress, but it's going to be one by one, isn't it, for these early laps? It's very tricky to overtake here, and that's something we know. The gap at the front, 1.5 seconds between Vasquez and Lardner now.
Yeah, Vasquez, strong performance in the opening laps. He's making sure that he gets that gap established, and then he can sort of cruise along at his own pace as long as he keeps Lartanen at the same or a bigger distance each lap. It's going to be comfortable now for the next 44 laps, or at least until we get to the pit stop stages. And through the midfield, it just shows where it's difficult to overtake. You know, like you said in the practice, real opportunities to overtake are the DRS zone on the main straight, and then the Casio triangle here past 130R, and maybe if you're lucky the hairpin. But other than that, there's going to be very little overtaking outside of those areas. And if we look here comes Magnussen down the straight with that DRS open. Look at how he just sails past Karl Andrzejewski into turn 1. He's, in fact,
Whoa.
Not having DRS seems like a massive disadvantage, as Marquinez then gets just past down the inside into turn 1 just before we got there, and Marquinez was almost 6/10 back on that straight. So DRS is proving powerful, even though the distance has been reduced. It seems like it's still a very, very strong overtaking aid, and down that main straight, it may not always be an advantage to be ahead.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think that will be key if there's a battle in the final couple of laps, is to when you time your DRS move as well. You know, you wouldn't want to do it anything before the penultimate lap, because they'll just get you straight back, right? And another thing we should mention as well, there is regenerative battery in Super League and Superlights for this season. Not just a push to pass button like we've had before. You can recharge and reuse your battery, and it's not anything like as powerful as it is in F1, because that racing is stupid. We've done it so that it's a tool as opposed to something that's completely destroying the sport. But it's still, you can dump it, you can use it in one chunk if you like, and that I think probably helped Marquinez get by Andrzejewski on that particular occasion. But let's see whether, I mean, as Micah drops back as well, they just don't really quite have the race pace, do they, the Hyperion pair?
Yeah, but there's Daniel Scott, who's gone round for Team Rookie Monsters. A bad race gone to worse, but I think the contributing factor for Micah is that the people who have passed him for the most part have always been on slightly lower compounds. You know, the 4 cars ahead of him are on medium soft. So I think a little bit is Micah struggling for the pace here, but also he is having to play the strategy game, because it didn't play out for him last time around on the gamble that he took to start on the softs and finish on the softs, compared to Aaron Vasquez, who sort of bit the frog a little bit, went for the softs in the middle of the race. So I think this is going to play out very similarly, that these soft and medium runners will pit earlier, and Micah will be in a similar position. Even though they're past him now, he should be able to recover this, I think, Toby. Like we time. I don't think the hards, though, might have an advantage.
The hards will definitely come on later, and there'll be a crossover between where the mediums are slower than the hards. But you can see the top 5, all of them on hard compound tyres. We're looking at race-view.com, which you can follow on live timings with, but we've obviously got the timing tower displayed for you as the Dragoon sets the fastest lap of the race in P9. Obviously got a little bit happy with the push to pass to try and catch up to the battle we're watching now, actually. Saracino, Harry Smith and Hanko just behind Smith. Those three are just outside of DRS range for Jan Dragoon, but it's quite important to be inside that DRS. As we see Pascal Paulens and who was that then? Was it Russo?
Federico Russo, yeah.
Yeah, they were obviously making contact, trying to go side by side through that first sector as Chris Butcher now trying to make his way through. But let's catch a replay, see what happened to the German driver. Talk us through this, Alex.
Well, Paulens there on the outside, and they just got tangled together again. This seems sort of reminiscent of what happened between I think it was Luke Mitchell and it wasn't Russo last time. It was Luke Mitchell and Maggio last time. They just got tangled together. Maybe Russo understeered, but
I'd like to see that on board with Pascal. But I feel like Russo was pretty much as inside as he could be there. I think Paulens has turned in early there and just caught him mid-corner. Well, yeah, I think maybe Paulens was a little early on the turn in. Maybe.
Yeah, it's a difficult one to call. You'd have to look at it multiple times over, multiple views, if it does get reported, as the disciplinary committee would look at it. But for our sake, replay, we only need to see it twice. I wouldn't put either party either significantly at blame.
No.
It just looked like...
Yeah, it was weird, wasn't it? Yeah. Very tight though through that corner to try and go side by side. It is usually a single file sector, so brave to even be attempting it at that point. 3.3 the gap at the front of the field. Vasquez is almost half a second faster than Jesse Lahtinen on the same tyre. What a ridiculous drive this is turning out to be for the Spaniard. We know he's very, very, very fast. He is currently the top-rated driver in iRacing across the planet, which says a lot for how good he is, and he is absolutely dominating, isn't he?
I hate to say it, but I mean, what would you expect of a high caliber driver such as Vasquez? He's been top I-rated. I-rated, is that a word? The highest I rating globally for a couple of years now. So he's certainly got the talent, and he's showing it off here across different simulators in R Factor 2. 3.2 seconds, but that gap is actually decreasing, I think, now for Lahtinen, although through the first corner it looks a lot less promising. I think Lahtinen might be saving his tyres a little bit here. If you recall, 2 weeks ago, Lahtinen did start on the hards, contrary to everyone else around him, and he pit earlier than the medium and soft runners, or around the same time as the medium and soft runners. So I think Lahtinen here might be saving his tyres, so...
You think it's a bit more of a long-term game potentially going on? Well, we did see Lahtinen wasn't that far off in qualifying, was he? He went in a couple of tenths. Not the, 4.5 or whatever it is right now that Vasquez is lapping. I mean, the last lap, Vasquez did a 34.8 versus Lahtinen a 35.2, so kind of bearing that out as well. It could also be that Vasquez is using more battery at this stage, which is also a strategy to try not to get caught up in, when you eventually pit, caught up in too much traffic. Although starting on the hards does enable you to escape. So it's one of those balancing acts you have to do. Here comes Jan Dragoon down the back straight then, P9 for him currently, and he is gaining on Hanko and Smith. He has actually got within that DRS range that we were talking about a few laps ago that is so key, and he will be looking to make a move when he can. He is on those soft compound tyres, is Dragoon, so it was fairly comfortable for him to catch, but he will have to switch to the hards and then see what he can do. As in front, Hanko goes side by side with Smith around the outside. Smith's softs just about hanging on at the moment, but it looks like the mediums are the faster tyre at this stage of the race between those two.
Yeah, I'm feeling like this is just about the point where those soft tyres are going to be ready to come off the car, I would say. The point where the pace is going to be falling down, and Dragoon is about the same as Patrick Hanko ahead on the medium tyres. But Magnussen has managed to find himself in this battle as well on those medium tyres, and I think he'll be getting past Dragoon in the next couple of laps, if not Dragoon coming into the pit lane. So this is the first interesting point of the race, I think, in terms of strategy, is where the mediums and the softs are starting to overlap, and of course the softs and the hards will be overlapping soon as well.
Yeah, well, we can already see, I mean, we know that Aaron Vasquez is probably on his own out there, but the hard runners are doing low 35s, and there's no one really on softs or mediums going any quicker anymore, so it might already be happening, to be honest with you, that the hards are the fastest tyre right now.
I think it was a good decision from the top 5 to start on the hard tyres, and like you suggested during the warm-up, a hard tyre probably here indicates that it's going to be a one-stop strategy for the top 5, but for the soft runners at the start, I think they could be gambling on a 2-stop now. You know, with the pace that Dragoon and other drivers around him, Harry Smith, are pushing on those soft tyres, I think that they're going to have to end up going for a 2-stop here. Because realistically, if you want a 1-stop to work, you want to carry these softs out another couple of laps, and it might not work out for them.
Yeah,
the medium tyres get up quicker compared to...
Yeah, but those who were on mediums and were inside the top 15, so that's Saracino, Hanko, I think Magnussen was just outside. They will have to 2-stop because they can't get to the end on a set of softs, you would think. It is possible for the likes of Smith and Dragoon, who started on the softs, to potentially pit onto set of hards in a couple of laps time, as you say, but it's not going to be easy. It's the easier way around is to go hards and then softs, for sure.
Yeah, especially at the end of the race, pace is where it starts to be more important. As we saw last time out, close last lap battle that ended up not really being much of a battle. It was more of a chase. But yeah, strategy is definitely more important towards the end of the race than it is now, as we head on to the main straight, and we've sort of got a bit of a DRS train as we cut to the two XGPs following each other closely, and that was like that last lap. So I think Taras is holding behind his teammate. I think
but Lartinen must have made a mistake or something, because the gap was more like a second and a half or so. In fact, Lartinen's lap was a 35.9 the lap before this. So he must have made some sort of error that we didn't pick up on the broadcast and has dropped back towards Oliver Taras now. So, and the gap at the front is now 5 seconds between Vasquez and the Apex duo. And they also are running in their own race ahead of Sandeep Singh. So they're clearly, Vasquez's pace was not just limited to qualifying. And I think he's got a pretty comfortable race ahead of him, hasn't he? He's got options. He can do whatever he likes right now, strategy wise as well. He could pit early and do 2 stops and do two soft stints at the end if he really wanted to. He has plenty of options there. The pit delta is around 23 or 4 seconds, something like that. So there is a big train back from Singh all the way back to Magnussen, isn't there? And it's going to be interesting to see if those guys choose to undercut or overcut, try and get track position on one another, and therefore benefit themselves in that final stint. But look at that gaggle of cars behind these Apex duo who are now swapping. So a bit of team orders going on there as Taras moves up into P2.
Yeah, I think you're right about Lartinen making a mistake that's pushed him further away from Vasquez. But the impressive thing, more realistically, is the fact that Vasquez is consistently doing 34.9, 34.9, 34.9, 34.7 on the last tour of the circuit. That might indicate he's pushing now. I doubt it, but compared to everyone else who's currently in the 35s, mid 35s and above, I think Vasquez is putting on a very impressive performance here as Luke Mitchell does sort of pull out of this race. I imagine he's had a crash in Sector 1. Here's the replay of it. Let's see. Through sector 1, down the straight, on his own. DRS open.
Whoa.
Hit the curb.
Ooh, Luke. I'm not sure what I just watched. He's not very happy about it. Whatever just happened. Let's see that on board.
My suspicion is he's hit the curb on the inside and then just lost it.
Whoa, just oversteer.
Yeah.
That was odd. Oh yeah, his car's completely broken. Look.
Oh, yeah. There's no chance of driving that.
No. Oh dear, it's a shame for Luke Mitchell, who had a very competitive end to the final few races of the season last year, and so far not a great start to the season for him whatsoever. But his time will come in that King's car. Anyway, Saracino then for Team Sheba, who myself and Carlos, we didn't think they would do very well, but Carlos Martin did say, this is the podcast I'm talking about, the preseason podcast, but Carlos Martin did say that they might do quite well in the opening few rounds, and Saracino up there in P6. De Tutis is down in 17th, of course, but yeah, it's a good run for Saracino so far, and he's on the medium tyre, so he is two-stopping. It'll be interesting to see how his race unfolds compared to those around him. Keep an eye on this gap between himself and Mesa is, 0 essentially. So let's see where they finish the race. I'm going to make a note of that to see what the strategy options are like.
Yeah, something we must have missed out earlier though is Pablo Serrano exited the race. I'm assuming that was quite early on in the first couple of laps. On lap 11 we lost Serrano actually, so there's another DNF that we didn't quite see. There was a brief yellow flag in sector 2 just a few moments ago. Clearly nothing too major, but like you said, I think Saracino here is in a very good position to get a good couple of points, although the strategy might be a mistake here, considering that it seems to me like everyone else is going for a one-stop strategy. I mean, the soft runners now have extended their stint around about where I would say they would, around about 14, 15, and that leaves them, well, 30 laps to do on hards. I could see that being possible. I just can't see it being very quick. So maybe everyone is on a two-stop strategy here. Who knows? Until we get to the pit stops. But Saracino is definitely guaranteed to go for a two-stop.
Yeah, definitely. There's no way he's getting to the end from set of mediums to softs. He would have to go to lap 24, 25 on a set of mediums, and there's another seven laps until lap 20, till the halfway point. And you're not getting a set of softs at the end from the halfway point. I can guarantee that. So it's well, you physically can, but from a strategic point of view, it's not worth. And of course, he has to use those soft tyres because he was in the top 15 in quali, and that's the rule that really makes this interesting. Because if it was open choice, we'd just have medium hard or hard medium as the two strategies. So at least we've got, especially on a track like this where there's potentially not so many on-track overtakes and people sort of chilling, you have got that strategic element to come in later on, and all three tyres are being used right now in fairly reasonably equal measure, to be honest with you. Not many people on the softs, but a lot of medium runners, especially those 16th and back, choosing to start on the medium, probably going to the hard for the end.
Yeah, that seems to be the best sort of strategy, to go for a one-stop, but I do like the change that you don't have to start on the compound you qualified on, which is almost guaranteed to be a soft. So the way that this is introduced is sort of forced it to be more of a strategy battle at the front as well as a on-track battle. Yeah, it requires a bit more thought, and it requires you to be a bit more careful about how you go about your strategies. But, yeah, starting on a medium, going for a two-stop, definitely the best strategy, I want to say.
No, yeah.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how it plays out.
It's probably on paper the fastest to two-stop, I would say. Yeah. But the problem is the traffic. So you you can't, like you can see for Dragoon, right? He's got stuck, hasn't he? He was starting on those softs, and then has been unable to make any further progress because the 6 cars and 5 cars in front of him, whatever it is, are all on. They're all within DRS of one another. So, in fact, it's Mesa, Saracino, Smith, and Hanko. So it's 4 cars in front of him. They're all within DRS of one another. They just can't, you know, even if Saracino and Mesa swap around, it doesn't make any difference to Dragoon's race. So yeah, it's as I think Saracino is probably close enough this time round to have a go, is he? Looking into turn 1, thinking about it, not quite. And it's also quite a short DRS zone with not a heavy braking either. So you can't just lunge down the inside. It's not like, for example, the end of the back straight at China. So it's a tricky track to overtake on. It's definitely one that the strategy is more where you're going to make those overtakes. It doesn't make it any less interesting. It's just a little bit more of a slow burner.
A what?
Slow burner.
That's not what you said. Chris Butcher becomes the
It definitely
first
is
person.
what I said. What did you think I said?
I'm just not. No, it's not happening. Chris Butcher does pit from the hard to the medium on lap 15. That doesn't seem like lap 14 he pit to the medium. So clearly not an ideal strategy there to go from a hard after 15 laps. This might be an interesting player. He might have caught some damage. I'm not sure what's going on there.
Must have had some sort of damage or a lockup or something. It's not something we saw. Oh, apparently he had something. Let's see what Fabian is going to show us. What is this something? Oh, a Degner something. Is it a front wing Degner something? Oh, he's tobogganed the curb. Yeah, he's tobogganed the curb and then had to repair the front wing, presumably. Very easily done. In these cars, they've got a bit of a low downforce, sorry, low ride height problem over those sorts of things. Yeah, he dumped his front wing off the front end of the car. So, poor Chris has kind of ruined his one-stop strat, and yeah, he's going to have to 2-stop from there. It's probably no points for Butcher today, then.
You never know. It could be like last time around where we have 10 retirements and he could get into the points. You never know.
Yes, it ain't over.
It ain't over until it's over. There's still
That's
27.
the same. There's still 27 laps left.
Yeah, but what's wrong with that? There is, well, if you want to be technical, 27 and a half laps remaining.
Vasquez is so far out in front, he might already be over the start-finish line.
Oh, but that's the fastest lap.
To the surprise of none, he's got fresh tyres on. But yeah, he, you know, is not slow by any stretch of the imagination. He's old. As old as I am. But not slow at all. Magnussen then is another driver who has got better race pace than they showed in quali. And I think, am I right in saying that Magnussen was P16 on the grid?
17th. It would be great. Yeah, 18. Look at that. So, thanks.
So as we watch just in front of them, yeah, not quite happening there between Smith and Hanko. But yeah, Magnussen then has that option now to go to the hards for the final stint, having sort of chilled out on the mediums in this pack. And I expect him to pit in the next couple of laps. He might get quite a big undercut on, well, not the soft runners, but certainly on the likes of Mesa, potentially Sandeep Singh, those guys who are on hards further up the road. They're not that far away from them. But it shows how strong the pack running is in Superlights and Super League. When you are inside that DRS zone, you are inside, and that's it for a while. And even in this middle sector where there's a lot of first sector, there's a lot of dirty air, they're still able to stay in touch using the battery, and it's kind of line astern, waiting to see what happens pit stop wise. And it kind of looks like Jan Dragoon is extending as much as he can here. He might actually go onto the hards and keep it to a one-stop and do the reverse strategy of what Vasquez is doing here.
That's what I would expect, is that I'd expect the soft runners to dip into the pit lane either this lap or in the next couple of laps. And try and get the undercut to runners here. Mesa and Saracino further back. There's a bit of action that we saw last lap. There's a bit of action all around. Hanko to the outside. Magnussen to the outside of Dragoon. Doesn't get past. Hanko does, but there goes Dragoon way off the circuit.
Whoa,
and round he goes. Ooh.
Oh, he did a good job then to get out of the way, didn't he? But this is going to kill Jan's race because there's a lot of cars in a row there. And this is the exact same thing that happened to him at Australia, where he had pace for like P3, and once again Dragoon has thrown it away. Albeit not P3 this time, but this wasn't too bad, and then he just got too excited.
Yeah, it seems, if you go on board, it seems very similar to what Luke Mitchell had in the first corner, where he just loses it mid-corner, and then he gets a little too happy on the throttle, but not as happy as I would expect to be turned around like that. I suppose he is on the AstroTurf, so that will have contributed a little bit, but if I was Jan Dragoon, I'd feel a little hard done by to have spun like that. Either way, on board with Marquinez behind Patrick Magnussen on lap 19 of this race. Oh, lap 20 apparently of this race.
Yep.
Marquinez getting close to the back of that KV86.
Smith has no tyres left. Look at the gap that Hanko's got on him, by the way.
Goes.
Smith, he's got nothing left. He's lost a best part of 2 seconds to Hanko on that lap, and ducks into the pit lane then.
Will
see
we
what happens.
Dragoon in the pit lane this lap as well? I reckon we will.
I would say so.
Salt Shooks comes into the pit lane as well.
Dragoon's in.
Lane.
So hard tyres. This is what I expected. If you wanted to do a 2-stop starting on the softs, you would have done it much, much sooner. So lap 20 now. 24 laps to the end of the race on a set of hards. I feel like they've left it a little long, to be honest with you. Medium tyres then on the Paul Lentz's car.
What does that mean for Pascal then? Didn't he start in the top 15? Did he start on soft tyres? Yes, he did. So he's moving for a 2-stop onto those medium tyres.
That's a 2-stop, yeah. Well,
this is gonna be
well,
interesting.
is it? Because 24 laps, he managed to do 20 on the soft. You probably can get to the end now on mediums. As I said to you, it's a possibility. It's just not that fast. Because the hards are just such a good tyre, like length, in terms of their longevity. So maybe he doesn't like the hards. It's possible. There's a yellow flag out there somewhere. Someone's done something. Not sure what that would have been. Although DeChutis looks like he's dropping through the pack now, and something's happened to DeChutis and Daniel Scott as well. Let's see if we can pick those up if we can. Although there's a bit of battling going on there between Marquinez and Magnussen, and Marquinez Magnussen in P8 and coming through on the inside then. So Patrick Magnussen then taking that position, I believe.
No, Magnussen
was ahead.
From Marquinez.
Yeah, so yeah, you're absolutely right. So he managed to defend the inside, didn't he? Marquinez couldn't go around the outside. Sorry, apologies. I'm trying to do 2 things at once here.
Is on those hard tyres. Magnussen's on those soft tyres. Here's the replay then of Scott and DeChutis, or it's just DeChutis on his own?
Was it just DeChutis? Yeah, let's see what happens to Lorenzo then. So it's through Spoon. Oh. Okay.
Is the engine kaput? No?
He's in neutral, and he's got... The car's on idling. It's got RPM, look.
This looks like an equipment failure to me.
Or a real-life emergency. Of some nature. So I hope everything's okay for Lorenzo. That looks like more like a real-life emergency to me. because the throttle sort of dipped, didn't it, as he got out of his chair, sort of thing. Daniel Scott then threw the Degners, and if you get the angle into the wall wrong, you can pick a tyre off. I wonder if that's what happened there. Barrier, unfortunately, was in the way. And then here's a replay of Dragoon on the hards. So has he done something else? Oh, Jan. Yeah, but he's locked the brakes, which is what the other guys didn't do. We saw a couple of drivers just going into the wall there, but Dragoon holding onto it, but he's having a scruffy old race. And then a replay here of Sandeep Singh, who's managed to catch... Oh, that's... Can you go to the... whichever the apex was there that he overtook, please?
That will be
Lahtinen. Just want to see his throttle input here, because it looks like he's lifted, look. So there's some... So they work together as two teams here, Netrex and Apex, and clearly Lahtinen is deciding to let Sandeep Singh through. Feels like he wants to follow him, and that's what they've done between the two sister teams, if you like.
It seems to me like Lahtinen, out of all the drivers on the grid, struggles the most with the hard tyres, struggles to keep them alive. So I think that's the main problem for him here, is that he's not really able to keep those hard tyres alive as long as the other drivers can. When he comes onto the medium tyres and he can sort of keep the grip and not scrub those hards, like you do tend to do when the grip gets low, you start to wear them a bit more as you try and force them around the corners more than anything. But when he gets onto the medium tyres and has the grip, he seems to be in his element as Fabricio Gobbi comes into the pit lane, taking off a set of mediums. He'll be going on to... Well, he has to go onto the softs, doesn't he? He started in the top 15. So that looks to me as if that's going to be a two-stop for Gobbi.
Which I don't think from his track position is going to work. As I said, keep an eye on Mesa and Saracino and their gap, although neither have boxed yet, have they? So, but Saracino presumably is going to a set of softs then for the final part of this race, even though there's 21 laps left. We know that the softs can do 20 in the opening stint, so it's just a different way of doing the one stop, I guess.
Oh, Dragoon's in the pit lane again. He has his front wing on. Is this to put on? I don't know. What is he doing? He's putting on a set of soft. Is he going for a slab?
He must have done some damage to them going sideways, even across the gravel with locked brakes, potentially.
But then, would you go onto a set of softs now? I wouldn't, personally.
No, but there we go. I mean, he managed to do plenty of laps in the opening stint, didn't he? So why not do it again? Oh, as we see Hanko then dipping into the pits, and he then will go to a set of softs, presumably, to get to the end. It's a long old time, but they are the C3, which is the hardest of the potential soft compounds, if you like. We've got the C3, C2, C1 today. We had the C5, didn't we, at Australia? So this is actually the hard that he's gone on to from Australia, if you like. So still a fairly harder, if you like, a harder compound or tyre.
Yeah, and here's Harry Smith and Peter Knapp, and that's also Hanko getting past. That looked interesting, to say the least. Of course, I think Knapp realizes that's not his race. I don't know what is going on there. Smith and Hanko did pit. Hanko on the soft tyre, and then Harry Smith onto a hard tyre. So he's gone soft hard, and Hanko has gone medium, and he's still on the medium. No, he's on the softs now. So he's just come in out the pit lane on a set of softs, just behind Harry Smith. So the pit stop hasn't really changed anything.
No, but there's plenty of time left for it to still happen. I'm not sure how they've ended up that way round, to be honest. Didn't Hanko get ahead?
Yeah, but then he also struggled with his tyres at the end of his stint, apparently. Oh, Magnussen comes into the pit lane off his mediums.
Smith boxed before Hanko, of course, didn't he? So he obviously got an undercut. Right,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm being very silly. Obviously, Smith started on the soft, and Hanko's gone the other way round. But you'd expect Hanko to make light work of this, though, being on fresh softs versus a few laps old hard. So
Watch
Magnussen comes
here,
out
though.
then. He's out well behind, and Hanko's actually done Smith very, very soon. Those are the so Gobby then is on a 2-stop, we think. Or do you think it is possible he can get to the end? Oh no, he has to be on it.
Yeah.
Go on.
He's done 2 sets of...
Yeah,
No, he's gone onto softs now.
He is on softs, yeah. So he can get to the end from here. It's just a stretch.
He can get to the end. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's possible, but I don't think it's the fastest route. Especially, well, if you look at the soft runners towards the end of their stint, let's take for instance, who was on softs? Was it Harry Smith? No.
Yeah.
Was it? Yeah.
By the way,
no, Harry Smith was on
By the way,
softs.
Matusz Majka is just set his fastest lap of the race at 34.9 on the hards. He's done the whole race on them so far. So this is Hyperion are coming back into this race, aren't they? They've got a 14.6 seconds gap to Falkenhayn. It could well be that they get a bit closer as Lattinen finally says enough on those hard compounds of tyres and boxes for Apex. This, I think, will start a chain reaction. I think you'll see Taras, Singh, Vasquez all boxing over the next couple of laps. As Saracino, he goes off those mediums and goes onto soft. So no one really going for that 2-stop as Petter Knap then, very tight there with Patrick and Magnussen through the Casio triangle. But Magnussen goes around the outside and takes the position. And now will set after the Italian Gobby as out comes Saracino then. And he comes out in P11 behind Smith and Hanko, which is I think he was ahead of them, wasn't he, just in that first stint. So Hanko and Smith, by boxing earlier, have got ahead of Giuseppe Saracino.
Yeah, I think the benchmark here is that Magnussen was just ahead of Marquinez when he came into the pit lanes. And you said the Hyperions are recovering, but the important thing to note there is that they haven't pit yet. If we have a look at the overall, I'd be interested to see. You said, 23 seconds is around the amount of time
Roughly.
you spend in the pit lane. If you're looking at the overall there, they're right on the cutoff of being behind Magnussen and, of course, this pack up and towards Smith. So, you might actually be right here that Hyperion have pulled themselves back into this through strategy, and they can, of course, take those hards a couple of laps more as Luis Mesa comes into the pit lane.
Yeah, this will be the one. Yeah, will he come out ahead of Saracino and that little gaggle of cars? Because this is Mesa and Saracino were relatively close, weren't they? And I said keep an eye on that gap. And Smith's right there, Saracino, Gobby. This is very, very tight. Let's see whether he comes out into the middle of that pile of cars. Looks like he's going to, doesn't it?
Yeah, Hanko's just beat him, but they're going to go 3 wide into turn 1. Hanko gets ahead. Saracino comes just ahead. Luis Mesa comes out just ahead of Harry Smith.
Yeah,
So
but Saracino did get back past. No, sorry, yeah. No, so Saracino does get by Mesa. So that's that undercut, that 1-lap undercut, look, that's done it.
No, you are right, yeah. Because Mesa was running 5th and Saracino was 6th behind him. So yeah, that undercut has paid off, but for no one more than Hanko, who's got ahead of both of them, now putting himself provisionally into 5th after all these pit stops have gone through. We're still waiting for the 2 Hyperions to come in, but now that Mesa has come off of those hard tires, will we see Aaron Vasquez coming into the pit lane? No, we won't, but we will see Oliver Taras come into the pit lane. The second Apex GP then comes in onto the soft tires, 16 laps on those softs, easily doable for Oliver Taras. But the important part is, where does he come out here? Does he come out just ahead of the Hyperions? Does he come out ahead of Lattinen? Micah is in. Marquinez is in. Here's the benchmark as well. Will Magnussen get past Marquinez? Who knows? Micah moves on to the softs. Marquinez then moves on to...
Softs, surely. No, no. What?
Wait.
Hopefully that will change and he hasn't accidentally put another set of hards on, because Marquinez was on...
No, it's showing race view on hards. He's gone too hard.
Has he? Has he made a mistake?
I think he's made a mistake there, Toby. I think...
Well, let's see whether it updates, because sometimes it takes a couple of sectors to update. We'll keep an eye on that one. Because surely he's not accidentally put another set of hards on, surely. With just 16 laps to go, but no sign of rain, by the way. I've kept an eye on the weather. There's no nonsense going to happen there. I think we'll see Vasquez in this lap, by the way. There's no, or at least in the next lap or two, because he's got a pit stop in hand to Andrzejewski. He is 5 seconds down the road from Taras. There's no real reason for him to wait for Taras to get closer, just in case he makes some sort of error. It's important for track position purposes for Vasquez to try to hold on to that. But of course, the longer he goes, the faster he'll go on the soft tyres at the end of the race. But in comes P3 Paweł Andrzejewski, and he will go onto a set of softs as well. Presumably will come out ahead of Petr Kanat, but behind Mateusz Majka. But they've got like fresher softs to try and work their way through this pack. So by going that little bit longer, they potentially have, as we're going to go 3 wide here, Magnus on the outside, and this is going to be brave stuff if he tries to fight his way around, and he's been forced onto the curb potentially through there, and back through goes Harry Smith, and that was Gobby being quite aggressive with his elbows out there, wasn't it?
Yeah, rubbing is racing, as they say, and I think Gobby's pushed it to the limit there, but it has meant that he keeps that 8th position. In fact, he moves up to that 8th position, replacing Harry Smith. Magnussen did have a good opportunity to get past both of them. I just think it didn't work out for him, and we've seen a couple of people go off at that second turn. I think he's quite lucky that he hasn't turned that KB86 around, as we got on board with Marquinez now, who's closed that a 1.5 second gap that he did have to Magnussen after the pit stop. They're all on soft tires.
It is softs for Marquinez, so it just took a bit, yeah. Phew, frankly.
Yeah, that would have been a hideous strategy mistake. Sandeep Singh then into the pit lane. Vasquez is extending those hard tires quite some time, and I think he has the margin for it. He hasn't really slowed down much across the course of this race. He's been consistently in the 34s. He's not showing any signs of dropping off pace.
Right, but look at where Lahtinen has come out. He's jumped him. So just being on that fresher set of softs for a few more laps, he was doing 33.4s versus, high 34s for Singh. It was always going to be the case that if Singh stayed out much longer, he was going to lose that track position. So again, can Singh now, same question, can Singh get that back? And Vasquez is still yet to pit, 28 seconds ahead, and he's still doing mid 34s, but at some point that crossover will be, well, it'll be very soon, because they're lapping in the low 33s now. Taras is just a 33.4.
Yeah, and the thing is, Sandeep Singh has come out behind the 2 Apex drivers, but he does have now 4 lap newer softs, and towards the end that will be more important, because as we know, the drop-off on these tyres does get exponentially worse. We've got a yellow in Sector 1. It's staying for quite some time, as Harry Smith here battling away with Mateusz Majka, and I think this is the move for Majka then down the inside of the spoon curve. Soft passes hard, and Majka moves up to 11th. And Harry Smith has fallen down quite a few positions.
Yeah, he's on the hards though, isn't he? And this is the thing. He couldn't use that soft tyre in that first stint because he was just stuck in a train of cars. As Vasquez makes his stop, comes out 3.5 seconds to the good over Oliver Taras, and with the fresher set as well. I think that is game, set, and match Vasquez. But strange things have happened. We've had 5 seasons of it. But we'll see.
Yeah, as we cut to more of this midfield action, Magnussen rearing up behind Fabrizio Gobbi for that Stax racing car. You know, it's supposed to be blue. I don't see a single bit of blue on that Stax car. Anyway.
No, I agree. Yeah, that's just a white and black car.
It's a bit red on there. Why have they got a blue logo then? That's just false advertising, frankly.
I mean, they are very prone to having very, very wild liveries. I do like the I guess it's a stag, right? Big deer. Makes sense.
Stax, yeah.
It's probably just like an antelope or something. I don't know, but either way, it's they've had some very, very attractive liveries over the years. Doesn't always come with the results, but they're in Superlights, having been a Super League regular for a few seasons, and we'll see what they can do over the course of the season. Fabrizio Gobbi, on his own right, is a very good driver. Atakanap in P20, looking unlikely to get a point today. As whoa, down the inside, a late old send, and Gobbi did not. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, you have to have an overlap going into the braking zone, but that had all the hallmarks of Prost and Senna, didn't it? And now there's a... What is Gobbi doing?
What is this? This is not racing, guys. Magnussen does get past, but after that move...
Oh, Fabrizio.
Oh, no!
Yeah, it's always going to happen. His head fell off halfway down the start-finish straight, and you always knew that something was going to happen. And Fabrizio has thrown away a good position with a little bit of a head loss.
That was always going to happen there, going into that second corner. Of course, Magnussen did make a big move through the Casio triangle, but it's still no excuse to be going like that down the inside into turn 2. Of course, contact does make it interesting, but it's not always what you want to see. I'd like to see a replay of that. Just go over it.
We'll keep an eye on this for a second, because Jorge Martinez has been reeled in by Andrzejewski, and the Hyperion strategy, going that longer distance on the hards, they looked after them, didn't they, in that first stint? They let cars go through and used the hards then later on in the stint, pushed harder. I mentioned that Micah did a 34.9 quite late into the stint. They're probably saving battery in that early part of the race as well. And right now, they've got the freshest set of tyres. Like Micah is cruising up to the back of Magnussen here. He's going to be within DRS down the start-finish straight. They could, in theory, get themselves up into potentially 6th and 7th here with this strat.
Yeah, we didn't think it'd pay off, but it certainly can there, as that's a lapped traffic car coming out of the pit lane. I think it is Butcher, because there's only one King's car. Micah then definitely securely in DRS range as we head through the S's. He's 6th and 7th on the table. They've got 11 laps to go. Once they pass Magnussen, they've got 4 seconds to try and gain on Luis Mesa. It might be possible. I don't see it being plausible, though. They have the pace at the minute, but that's slowly going to fall off and slowly going to average out towards the kind of pace that Saracino and Mesa are putting up further ahead. So as much as I'd like to see it, I don't think it's going to be quite as drastic as you suggest for the Hyperion cars. Micah did make a little bit of a lunge to the inside against Magnussen there. This, of course, is a rivalry we dealt with.
Sorry.
A rivalry we dealt with a couple of years ago in FS2, Micah versus Magnussen. The stakes are a little bit lower here for a higher points paying position rather than the Drivers' Championship down to the last round. But they're reunited again in Super Lights as we head onto the main straight. Micah is certainly close enough to make a move, although he doesn't get the best of exits out of the Casio triangle, but with the help of a DRS and a little bit of that overtake button, I would imagine Micah won't make too much of a fuss with this overtake. Micah opts to the outside into turn 1, quickly stays.
No.
Micah does stay in 8th for now, but the pressure certainly piling on here for the KV86 driver.
And this is the problem, isn't it, with the track as it is that if you don't have a huge tyre offset, it's so tricky to get through. And to be honest with you, Micah has clearly got more pace, you know. Aaron Vasquez, by the way, has done 32.6. He's very much won this race. We knew that for a long time, but he's
from lap 1.
Yeah, 6 or 7 tenths faster than Oliver Taras right now in P2.
Yeah, he's doing well there. It has to be said. Vasquez putting on a very impressive performance at the front, but it's not as big as I was expecting it to be, given the sort of delta he had at the start of the race. But he has had some impressive consistency. Taras, of course, pulled it back with a bit of an undercut on Vasquez down to 4.6 seconds. And Magnussen's actually done quite well here. He's managed to get Micah outside of DRS range. Of course, through 130R and Casio Triangle, Micah will have an opportunity to get within that 7 tenths. And in fact, he does with the help of a little bit of an overtake button and the slipstream, of course. Here's Andrzejewski behind.
Is he close enough?
Marquinez. Is he close enough? Is Micah close enough? These are the questions. We're going to watch both of these Hyperion cars. Micah's not close enough, but Andrzejewski certainly is. Goes for the inside into turn 1 and does get soundly past Marquinez. It's now Hyperion 9th and 10th.
Yes, but they will be hoping for better if they can. Obviously, they are you know, not that far away. They're only 3 or so seconds away from Mesa and Saracino. The laps are running down though, aren't they? And they need that they need that overtake to happen fairly soon if they're going to make any further progress. Magnussen using his battery well down that start-finish straight. And I also think you were right a couple of laps ago when you said Micah was squirmy out of the final chicane. He was just unable to put the power down, and he got that poor exit, just didn't enable him to get a good run down into turn 1.
Yeah, it certainly cost him there. And I think for Micah here, he's struggling behind Magnussen. Of course, through Sector 1 and Sector 2, there is slipstream playing in, but also a lot of dirty air. Micah's closer this time around than he was last time. Now inside the DRS range. I think Magnussen might have used a little bit of his battery to try and crawl away from that Hyperion car, but of course Micah now will have a little bit of a state of charge advantage as we head onto the main straight. He's probably too far behind to make a move, although Magnussen not with the best of exits into the DRS zone. We go. There goes Luis Mesa past Saracino, or was that Mesa defending from Saracino? There goes Micah down the inside, and it's big contact as Micah. Oh, Magnussen's out of the race now. Oh, I want to see that again. What was that?
Well,
Micah went down the inside without damage now.
Well, that's the question, isn't it? Did Micah pick up any damage in that? What was did Magnussen defend that too hard, or did Micah just run into him? Let's see if the wheel is straight for Micah as he comes into the Danas. It doesn't look too bad, does it? And he's still able to take the curb like he would want to. But yeah, let's ping up a replay of that because what did you think of this, Alex? Was it just too late to make the move? Did Magnussen turn in? I mean, he's a long way back, isn't he?
Yeah, well, it gets reasonable, but
that is.
Does he have the overlap though? He doesn't have the overlap until after the turn in. This is a difficult
rule
to define. This is because there's no braking zone.
Oh, it's so close, isn't it? It's so close. I wouldn't want to say definitively. I'm not working in the disciplinary committee, but Magnussen would have. I mean, it's very late. He targets that move so late, and Magnussen's obviously committed to looking into the corner as opposed to looking in his mirrors at that point. Very tricky to rule on that one as to whose fault that is, to be honest.
But to me, for Micah, that seems like a high-risk, low-reward kind of move. You're not going to get anything achieved there by going to the inside in turn 1 that late. It's not particularly a braking zone. Only thing you do is set yourself up for turn 2. I don't think that was the right move for Micah, and I think he's unnecessarily put himself in danger, and I think you have to feel bad for Magnussen there because
I agree.
There's nothing he could really do.
I think there's some impatience going on because we obviously know that, I mean, we were talking about it, Micah knows he needs to get through if he's going to improve his result there, but absolutely Magnussen is, I don't think you can blame, I think saying it this way, right? Even if Micah has the overlap according to the rules or whatever as they turn in, it's so late that he makes it that you're almost not expected to see that if you're Magnussen at that point. So it's really tricky to say, you know, Magnussen, he had the overlap, therefore Magnussen needs to give him space. On the other hand, you know, you can't like send it down the inside that late and such a high speed corner, because if they don't see you, that's what happens. The race is going to be over for one or both of you.
Yeah, and if I recall back to, you know, how the disciplinary committee looks at stuff like that, there is the aspect of the rules, like your relevant overlap, your front wing to the center line of their rear wheel. But at the end of the day, you know, it doesn't matter. If you have the overlap, if you make contact, there's someone at fault there, and, you know, having an overlap doesn't stop you from making contact. That's the thing. If you're entitled to space, it doesn't stop you from not getting that space, if you know what I mean. It's certainly one that's going to be looked at by the disciplinary committee after this race. But here's Sandeep Singh then on the back of Larsson. We spoke about this. Sandeep Singh does come out behind Larsson, but does have 4-lap newer softs as we head towards the spoon curve. I think this is going to be a podium for Sandeep Singh here. I don't think Larsson will make this too difficult, but I don't see him catching up to Oliver Taras in the time. I mean, it's 9 seconds. There's no way he's getting that done in 6 laps. I mean, he still has to get past Larsson, but I think Sandeep Singh here is pretty much securing himself a podium. I think Larsson struggles a little bit with race pace. As I mentioned earlier on, he struggles with his tyre management, and that is showing here.
Yeah, and the other thing here is obviously that they swapped over relatively straightforwardly earlier on. I would expect you know, a similar thing to happen again. It's obvious that Sandeep gave up the track position for better tyres, so no reason to not. But I just don't know why Sandeep did that, to be honest with you. It's not like it's now he has to get back past. He had a guaranteed P3 if he just pits the lap after Lattinen does, right? I mean, why would you now have to put yourself in a position where you have to overtake them? Unless, of course, he knows that Lattinen will just make it really simple for him.
I think that's what's going to happen here. Although, as much as I'd like to see it be a bit of racing, and I think Lattinen is starting to push a bit more now, but for Sandeep Singh, this won't be too difficult. With better tyres and the help of the DRS and the battery, I can't see this being too difficult a move. I mean, look at how much he's closing here, just under slipstream towards the spoon curve. 4 tenths at the end of that straight, 5 tenths through the corner. He's not struggling at all as much as Larsson is for grip there. He in fact gained time through that corner, which isn't something you see often with dirty air. So yeah, I think for Sandeep Singh, even with a miscalculated strategy, maybe I wouldn't call it that. I think for Singh this is, maybe not, as he makes the mistake out of the Casio triangle. We'll still have the DRS onto the straight, but I think for Singh this is pretty much a guaranteed podium at this rate.
Yeah, it's you'd think so, wouldn't you? This is certainly the closest battle on track right now. We know that Micah and Andrzejewski are indeed closing in on Saracino in P7, so we'll keep an eye out for that gap to come down. Saracino has actually dropped off the back of Mesa, who is right behind Hanko as well, so that's another one to keep an eye on as the race unfolds over the final 5 laps. But yeah, Hanko has done a good job, hasn't he, in P5 for Green Stripes? That's a good result for that team. And yeah, I think it's interesting to see over the course of the season whether anyone can hold a candle to Aaron Vasquez, because he's just run away with it again, hasn't he?
Yeah, it's not a big margin, but it's about as large as you would expect. Looking at qualifying, of course, with the field being as tight as it was, I think for Vasquez, it's certainly a strong margin to have to Oliver Taras, who seems to have had a better race this time around. He's managed second rather than the struggle he had last time. I think he finished 5th. So, yeah, better for Taras. Sandeep Singh just can't get the Casio triangle right. He jumps over those curbs and sort of struggles on the exit, but this could be the move here with the DRS and the slipstream. Look at the closing distance. Yeah, that's easily down the inside for Sandeep Singh into turn 1. And that's the move that it should have been for Mateusz Majka, in my opinion, just calling back a little bit.
But I think if Latinum was really, Mesa is trying to go around the outside of Hanko here, but no. And this, was a little bit squiggly off the corner there for Hanko. This is helping the guys behind, actually. Saracino, look now, is within a second. He was 1.7 going into the first corner. So this will be a big pile of cars now. Actually, that doesn't help Majka and Andrzejewski, of course, because Saracino will now have DRS off the back of these pair. But I'm surprised. What I was going to say is Latin didn't really defend. He looked like he did, but he really didn't. Because if you really want to keep someone behind into turn 1, as we have seen all race, you hold the inside line and try and make them go around the outside. There's no real way there to get around the outside, and we saw that with Gobby and was it Polentz earlier on, or was it Magnussen? I can't remember, but someone tried to go around the outside of Gobby and it just didn't work. They ended up on the curb, and Gobby it probably could have been right up there with these guys if he'd have played it a little bit smarter this race. But here comes Mesa then. He's on the battery through 130R. It's a tricky old corner in the dirty A. He's going to try a move. No, he's going to hold back and wait for that DRS zone.
Mike past Saracino,
but off track. Yeah, he's going to have to let that one back through. And Andrzejewski is right there as well. But Majka is... Wow, it's going to be 3 wide. This is going to be fun. I think Majka's going to let Andrzejewski through. Saracino trying to get back through down the inside and gets it.
Oh, no.
And there's a yellow flag. Oh, no, Mesa and Hanko are out. Well, at least Hanko's out. There's no way he's getting that back to the pit lane. He's going to be stuck. What happened there?
It's a repeat, I think, Toby. We've seen this show before. Into turn 1.
No.
Side by side. Mesa made a very late look here. It's an exact repeat. Oh, not so much. Mesa had, a bit more time. It's a miracle he only lost his front wing there.
He's very lucky, and Hanko, I think, in this is again. I was talking about this is Senna Prost 1990, isn't it? But he's turned in on him. I think Hanko. He's not left him quite enough room. Yeah. I think if we go on board with Mesa, I think he'll be on the white line as they make contact there. Let's have a little look, but that's my initial reading. Let's see if Mesa understeers into him, but yeah, he can't go much further right. Though, yeah, it's close, isn't it? It's close.
There's quite a few of these today. It's worrying and it's concerning me, but it's just a close one to call that one.
You've got to make the move earlier. Clearly, you have to make the move earlier in the straight, don't you? That's the thing. Right, we're on to the penultimate lap. So if Majka's going to get this done, he's got 2 more opportunities. Andrzejewski from nowhere is P5, by the way. And there we go. Majka does make the move into P6. So 5th and 6th for the Hyperion pair. And frankly, from where they were kind of midway through the opening part of this race, they'll take that.
Yeah, I was saying, I'll bite my words. We were saying 6th and 7th wasn't realistic for Hyperion. Here they are sitting 5th and 6th. So, clear 6th and 7th wasn't realistic, was it? It was 5th and 6th they were going for.
You've just destroyed the YouTube chat for the next 30 seconds.
It's only because you've brought it up now.
But there we go. So Saracino and Marquinez are not out of this. They're behind Majka, and in fact, Majka needs to get outside of that DRS. He's just achieved it from Saracino because they've got one more opportunity as Vasquez, believe it or not, starts his final lap as these guys are rounding Spoon. And there he goes on his merry way to... I think he had more pace in the tank, and if you remember, he pitted very late on that set of hards as well, didn't he? As Dragoon takes the fastest lap. And in fact, Saracino's not going to be able to get Marquez. Here comes Marquez down the outside. Whoa, they're still banging wheels. And through the chicane goes Marquez, and he should get DRS, but he's nowhere near close enough now. And I don't think Saracino left him anywhere near enough room there, personally.
Well, I think he is close enough. No, he isn't. Into turn 1. Maybe. I think Saracino did close the door on the entry to that corner a little bit. I think we need to pay attention to more important things, as there goes Dragoon barreling round in Sector 2, apparently. No, the one behind Dragoon.
No, Dragoon is dropped.
Oh, that's Dragoon, yeah.
He set his fastest lap and is now DNFing, I think. But yeah, we should talk about him. We haven't mentioned him that much. Aaron Vasquez is going to win this race by over 8 seconds. He's coming round towards the 130R now, Alex, and what a drive from the Spaniard.
Yeah, certainly impressive. We were talking about a 5-second advantage just a few laps ago. He's managed to grow it all the way to 8 and almost 8.5 seconds as he crosses the line to win here for the second time this season in Japan. He hasn't seen anybody for the length of this race. It will be Oliver Taras then finishing in second, with Sandeep Singh will round out the podium. But here's the battle then. Jorge Marquez and Saracino. Shiba versus Brem through toward... Oh no! It's all happened in the last lap! What's happened to Saracino? He's gone round!
Oh, can he get to the line?
Can he get
to the line?
I doubt it.
He's got no engine, it's dead! Saracino has thrown it away!
For Marquez, that's 7th for free. What happened? Did he go to neutral midway through the corner? That's the only way I can see that happening there. Oh, towards 130R.
He's thrown it away all by himself.
Is it? Wow.
It's unbelievable from Giuseppe Saracino. And he's just lost the back end. There's no reason for it. He's just gone through the final corner and just lost it. And he's out.
What an unfortunate way to end this race for Saracino. Here's Marquez's view. He just...
and then of course he locks the brakes then, of course, halfway through the course. That's why I don't always believe in locking the brakes, by the way. You should lock the brakes according to the rule book. But by locking the brakes there, he doesn't spin around in front of Marquez. He ends up hitting him, and Marquez could easily have DNF'd that one as well. But yeah, here are the results then, Alex.
Yeah, Aaron Vasquez does take the win unsurprisingly, with Oliver Taras and Sandeep Singh rounding out the podium. Yasser Lahtinen fourth, with the two Hyperions of Powell Andrzejewski and Matusz Majka 5th and 6th. Jorge Marquez then 7th after a late, eventful bit of racing. Harry Smith 8th. Mirko Lucchini for Santen getting their first bit of points, with Fabrizio Gobbi for Stax finishing 10th. Then it's Zolt Schuks and Istvan Shingle, the two TTFs, both in the points, 11th and 12th, with Federico Russo double points for Santen as well in 13th. 14th then for Michael Falkenhayn, getting 2 points for his efforts, with Pascal Polenz rounding out the points finishers. Then it's Peter Knapp 16th, with Luis Mesa 17th, Robin Moiling 18th, with Sebi Saracino not finishing but classifying ahead of Jan Dragoon 19th, with Dragoon finishing, well, not even finishing, 20th. Then Maxime Bolio amongst the non-finishers, 21st. And then all these non-finishers: Patrick Hanko, Chris Butcher, Patrick Magnuson, Lorenzo De Choitis, Daniel Scott, Luke Mitchell, Pablo Serrano, Juho Soppinen, and Victor Ia, all not finishing this race. And that brings us to a similar number as last time, about 10 DNFs. It was an interesting one, that was, Toby.
I mean, it was a slow burner, wasn't it? You know, we had quite a lengthy opening stint with, we're just discussing potential strategy options, and in the end, we we had those last few laps that were absolutely crazy. And some pretty poor moves, to be honest, down into turn 1. So some things to think about. We've obviously brought some FS2 driving with us. But there we go.
What was it we were saying at the start of the season? Yeah, we bring chaos with us.
I know. Yeah, something like that. I was hoping it wouldn't actually happen, but there we are. It is what it is. Right, we'll just wait for a couple of drivers to join for an interview. I'd like to speak to Aaron if I can, especially after two rounds of domination in the end for him.
There he is.
Here he is indeed. Let's bring in the Spaniard. Here he is now. Aaron, congratulations again. 2 out of 2, my friend. How do you feel?
Yeah, I'm feeling good actually. Like, this is like I want to start the season winning. You know, like we need to get a good feeling with the car and get a good feeling with the result, because if you start already bad, the mentality always going down. So like this is like you get more motivated, and the group I think get more motivated because they think like we have a really good car, so they have like the motivation to still training for get the pace. So that's actually really good. Yeah, the race actually was really nice. Like the practice I did basically just like what I was expecting to do, basically just trying to make more position to start in the front and then get the dirty air and just pull away with the first 2 laps I did. That's what I did basically, and then it was like basically poor pace. At the end, yeah, we have like the pace I wanted to have. Like we pull away, yeah, that's it. Too much, like not too much anymore, because like basically was just following the strategy and don't miss any corner. So that's what we did, and we get the win basically.
And do you think you had a spare pace in that final stint in the tank, or were you just taking it easy? Or
I mean, Oliver and I think Apex pit a little bit earlier than I was expecting they will, because in my opinion, pit like less than the lap 28, 29, it will be like really difficult to keep the pace, because like with the soft tires you couldn't like go too much longer. So my idea was basically pit minimum at least in the lap 29. Yeah, when I saw that they pit really earlier, I think, okay, if I keep the gap to be in front after the pits, it's my race. So that's what I did, and basically after the pits, yeah, they were a little bit faster than me because they warm tires, but after that, it was like not chance, because like I have like fresh tires and my pace was also good, so yeah.
And a pole position as well, which was nice for you to get, I guess.
Yeah, in pole position, I was like, I didn't have any too much idea about others, because I was expecting I was fast, but I was not really sure if my pace was like the pace I need to have, or like someone will be more like much faster, or like my pace was already really, really good. So basically, I think my pace was really good, I would say, after the pole position, because we saw that nobody got like even a 0.8, I think. So actually it was a really good pace at the end, so we are really happy about it. But I don't think so everyone has like something more than that.
Fair enough, mate. Fair enough. So a couple of weeks time, it's Bahrain. I believe you're doing SL1 as well. But you said it's I know personally, you said you've not really driven it much before. Do you think it'll be a bit more tricky for you to potentially get that result?
Yeah, like Bahrain was not a track I never drive before in other sims, like Suzuka, and it's even in Melbourne I didn't drive in other sims. So actually I think Bahrain gonna be a little bit difficult than Suzuka at the beginning, because I mean I know the track, I just know everything, but I didn't drive never in my life in Bahrain, so we will see what happens. But we hope to have the pace like here and just continue like we are doing right now.
Yeah, it's been very impressive so far. Alex, do you have anything for Aaron?
No, I mean, what is there to ask? You've said it. Pace in Bahrain maybe could be questionable, but I doubt that you'll have too much trouble based on what you've done in Australia and of course here in Suzuka. Are we? In fact, no. How are you finding the car? You know, is it weird coming from iRacing to R Factor, or is it easier than you expected?
I mean, actually, without THR basically group, I will be not doing this car actually. Like the help of Super League guys is like much helpful for me because I just coming from iRacing. So the things, yeah, it's the same, but the way of the like. You know, always in other sims, like the way to drive the car or the way to do the setups is different. For example, in iRacing, we have like the way to do the setup is basically have a lot of rotation, but we don't need to care a lot of about the tires or something like that. So we just make aggressive setups. But here, you make a really aggressive setups, you wanna have like a lot of tire wear. So basically, you need to play with that. So I didn't know the way at all when I joined to Error Factor. So join to this group basically helped me a lot to find the way, and also they have a lot of ideas how to make setups, so it helped me a lot this week. So for example, and in Melbourne we also be a little bit like confused because we start late, but at the end we get the setup as well. So I'm really happy to be in this group actually. So if without them I could be not here actually. So yeah.
Fair enough, bud. Fair enough. Cool. Right, let's we'll see you in. I'm sure we'll see you in a few weeks' time. But thank you, Aaron, and congratulations today.
Yeah, thank you guys. See you.
Aaron Vasquez. Right, let's see who is in the wait here for interview that's actually relevant to the race. There's a lot of people there who aren't. Pavel Andrzejewski, let's bring him in, shall we? Have a little chat. And Pavel.
Oh, hello.
How are you?
Oh, I'm feeling very good. It was from hell to the heavens, to be honest. This race, I think you all saw that. It was really hard at the beginning, and those hard tires, we were really nursing them. We were just giving them massage for the first 10-15 laps, and after that they just came alive. They gave us the pace we wanted to have, and after that, when we switched to softs, I was just handed like 5 positions, I think, during this race. So I'm very grateful. I'm very happy, and I think it's very building over this rough start to the season we had. Yeah,
it's clear that you guys have put a lot of effort in to try and overcome some of that pace gap that you had at Australia, especially for yourself. To get P5 is very good. But yeah, as you say, you were at like lap 19-20, you were like 14th place. So
yes, indeed.
So what was you say you were nursing them? Was that like intentional? You were sort of sitting in that train yourself and Mateusz to try and use the tires when you had clear air later on?
This was generally our strategy. We knew that how long we need to go on these hards. We actually pitted 2 laps earlier than we expected to pit. Like, for example, when you look at Aaron when he pitted on lap 30 or something like that. So this was our current target. But in the end, I think we needed to do this pit stop because other guys have undercut us, and we had to actually react to stay in the picture and stay in the battle. Yeah. So yeah, in general, it was really good, really good. I'm a little bit loss of words, but I'm very pumped after this race, and I think that it's going upwards from this point.
Yes. Now I have to ask about Mateusz at turn 1 and his incident there with Patrick Magnusson. Did you see anything from inside your car, or were you just obviously hearing about it from Mateusz?
I was like 300 meters from this incident, so I had first row seat looking at it, and we quickly had look at it into the replay after the race. So I think that Mateusz takes 100% blame for it, and he knows that. He is very sorry about that, and I think that he will try to talk with Patrick in private, but we understand that this might probably be a penalty, and we accept that.
You know what? That's very honest of you guys. To be fair, we were looking at it live, and it was like how, like, even if Mateusz had got the overlap, how does Patrick react in time, because it was so late, wasn't it? But anyway, it wasn't your incident, so let's move on from that. But yeah, 5th and 6th on the road. Bahrain next. Track you like?
That depends. I think it all depends on the car we are racing. If I had finished this race in like 15th or 16th, I would say that I'm feeling hopeless towards Bahrain. But now I'm feeling very motivated to train even harder for this race, and I think that looking at lap times, looking at the gaps after the grid has spread out and etc., I think that current pace was allowing us to fight for even podium spot. So my goal for Bahrain is to finish in second place.
Yeah.
Is it fair?
Fair. Well, I mean, yeah, I'll shoot high, hopefully.
If you are not motivated enough, then you are working too leniently. So
Yeah,
this is my motto. I think that to be honest, I'm very grateful after this race, and I'm very motivated. So I'm looking forward to having this race in Bahrain. And I think that we are just speeding up with Mateusz.
Nice. Happy days. Right. Well, thank you, Pavel. Do you have anything for Pavel, Alex, before we move on?
Can you give Toby a tutorial on how to pronounce your name properly?
Pavel.
My name?
Andrzejewski.
No, you are also incorrect.
No.
My correct pronunciation from Polish is Paweł Andrzejewski.
Andrzejewski.
Yeah, quite good.
Andrzejewski.
Andrzejewski,
Okay.
yes.
I will get there. It's a lot.
Write
There's
down,
a lot of letters.
write it down, because in Bahrain you will be talking a lot about this name.
Well, I can do Pavel quite well. I'm not bad at Pavel, but Andrzejewski. Andrzejewski.
Andrzejewski.
Got it.
Yeah, thank you.
No worries. See you soon.
Thank you very much. Good night, guys.
Bye.
Right, I'm going to wrap it up there, I think, Alex, because everyone
that's a
else
good
everyone else in the waiting for interview is in a different series, or you have Soppinen, who was out on lap 1. So, yeah, Alex, your thoughts, my friend?
I wish it was less chaotic, you know? I wish it wasn't as FS2y as we've seen in previous Suzuka races, but other than that, there was some good overtakes, good racing, and overall an interesting race that also shows just how dominant Aaron Vasquez can be. So he's definitely looking at Super League prospects next year, I would imagine.
Yeah, and I think the intention for that squad with Optiminal, they obviously wanted to get into. It's no secret they wanted to get into Super League for this season, and were held back by their financial imprudity in 2025. So they will be hoping to get promoted, and I think Aaron will stay there. I think he's enjoying. I mean, they're part of the wider THR group. They're enjoying being part of that group. They're enjoying Aaron and his his committed nature. And I know Aaron will be driving for FTR again at Bahrain. So yeah, it's I think we'll see Aaron in. I mean, he was nearly took pole on his Super League debut, so he'll be easily good enough for that league. Keep an eye on him next season and this season. But long old championship, the Superlights Championship, 16 rounds. We've only done an 8th of them, which Fabian probably likes the sound of. But thank you ever so much for joining me, Alex. And yeah, it's been a fun evening, hasn't it?
Wish you could say the same too. Yeah, it has been a fun evening.
Yeah, it's
Definitely
nice to be back in the flow, isn't it?
This out, so we don't bore Fabian to death, and he can.
I want to say one last thing. that I do enjoy the commentary side of things in GPV, and I hope all of you like the show that we put on for you guys, because we try our very best to do the best we can. So thank you for watching, everyone. I've been Toby Davis. I've been joined by Alex Foulkes, Fabian Jungbluth on cameras, and we will see you in 2 weeks. But until then, goodbye.
He's Bobby Tavis.